Alright, Max Payne 2, the second game in the trilogy. I admit, it's kind of weird that I decided to make my first video about this game, considering it's not the first or the last game in this trilogy, but I'll have you know that no thought went into that decision. I simply have been playing old games, and this is the one I was enjoying the most. Anyway, welcome to Retro Reviews, a series in which I will quickly review a game that I would consider old and talk about whether I loved it or hated it, and why. Before I start talking about Biggest Hurt 2, I wanted to say that I have not played the first game. In fact, I've played this trilogy objectively in the wrong order. I played Max Payne 3 when it came out in 2012, and I recently got the first two games in the series on Steam, and could only get the second game to run on my computer. Side note, getting this game to run is a bitch. I had to follow some tutorial in which I went into my game files, took out the spaces in the application file, go to the Steam code thingy, and do the same thing to the name of the game in said code thingy. And finally, I had to go to the game properties and run it in compatibility mode for Windows 95. Surprisingly, the compatibility mode thing doesn't work by itself, because I tried it, so I guess there's something to taking out the spaces in the... whatever. Anyway, let me just say, I love this game. Alright, that's the end of the review. Thanks for gameplay. The gameplay is pretty great all the way through. If you don't already know, this game features bullet time, which doesn't drastically alter the game, except it transitions everything in the game into slow motion while giving you super speed powers, which allows you to move at regular speed while in slow motion, and for some reason your gun shoots faster than it should in slow motion too, and reload animations become cooler, and yeah, basically it's a cool button. It activates the cool. You can also shoot dodge, where Max, or whoever you're playing as, wink wink, jumps in whatever direction you are moving in at the time, and you can shoot while you're in the air, and it looks pretty cool and awesome and stuff. Otherwise, the game doesn't really have any special mechanics. Max is a walking weapons locker. He can carry a metric ton of weapons and ammo. The movement is fun and responsive, and the shooting is good too. In fact, I have to say the camera is somewhat lacking. In the third game, you can switch which shoulder of the character the camera is above, but in this game that doesn't exist. However, I can excuse that because it's an old game. Something I've noticed about older games is that they are hard as balls. This game and another one from 2002 that I might do a video on essentially required me to save scum the whole way through. I would die a lot playing this game. As proof, here are all the deaths from the footage I recorded, all stacked on top of each other. I don't know if this game was always this hard for people, or if I just suck at video games. Probably the latter. But I had a rough time with this game. Not in a bad way, I would just get frustrated sometimes, you know? I forgot to mention that the health in this game doesn't regenerate like in recent games of all sorts. The way you restore your health in this game is by popping painkillers. And it seems like everyone is addicted to pills in this universe. The chief of Max's police department does it, Mona does it, even the enemies drop pills when they die, which, you know, that could just be a gameplay thing to help out the player, but it implies that the enemies are also addicted to pills. Basically, if you're a young, impressionable, tiny baby person, do not play the game because it'll definitely lead to a pill addiction, because that's definitely how that works. Anyway, that's about the extent of what I have to say about the gameplay, except for one last thing. The game crashed a lot for me. It definitely wasn't because it was running poorly. The game ran at 60 FPS the whole time, and it would be kind of sad if it didn't. Honestly, I think it may have been the recording software I was using. Maybe the game didn't like to be recorded, maybe it was shy, and it just had a mental breakdown every time I recorded it for too long. The quickest I ever got the game to crash, also known as TTC, was after around 2 minutes in the first level. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of that, but I was just sitting in the first room and the game imploded. Anyway, on to the next thing. Story. The story of this game is good. It's kind of cliche, but I think that was on purpose. I won't spoil any of it, but it's about Max Payne, who's a detective for the NYPD. This game is a noir, so there's obviously going to be a part where the main character cop guy is suspended, and there is. I could list off other noir cliches that happen, but that would be spoiling the story. Basically, game gritty and dark, and Max is sad. One thing I will say I didn't like about the story is that there are a lot of time jumps. There is this one story going on, but within this one story, there's a lot of time skipping. Like, the story starts with Max being injured and in a hospital because, you know, the game needs to lure you in and hook you. And directly after the sequence, you jump forward in time and then back in time, I think. I honestly can't remember how the game does it. I just remember what actually happened in order. But the game does that type of thing a lot. I can say that there were times that I enjoyed the time skipping stuff. There's a character in the game named Mona Sachs, and there's a lot of story stuff surrounding her. So the game tries to show the player what happened with her while you were being Max Payne and doing the shooty dodge boom bang pow stuff. So when the game starts doing this, it simply cuts to a black screen and flashes the name Mona or Max to tell us from whose perspective we are about to see the cutscene. I think the stuff with Mona was pretty well done. Another side note, I just wanted to shout out the developers who worked on the little details. For example, there's a lot of physics stuff and debris and cool stuff to have fly around the place in a shootout, and the ragdolls look great and go flying everywhere and stuff like that. But there are also a lot of tiny details during the story that I appreciated. For example, there's this one part where you're working with Mona Sachs and you're in a hotel. She's watching you through the hotel security cameras, and there happens to be one in the elevator that Max is using when the level starts. If you face Max towards the camera, he'll look directly into it as if you were making eye contact with Mona. With the context of the story, this is a better detail than it sounds, I swear. Anyway, that's about it. Those are the two major things that the game does, story and gameplay. You know, like most video games out there. I would like to take a moment to highlight some of the voice acting though. Throughout the game, the voice acting is great. However, there are some instances where the voice acting was kind of bad and cheesy, but that kind of added to the charm of the game, weirdly enough. Anyway, here are some examples.
Annie was a princess. They killed her for no reason.
You hurt your hand just now?
A hot date yesterday. Can I tempt you?
Let's pretend I'm on duty.
Go away! I got a gun!
Okay.
You stay here.
Okay.
And handle it. Whether it's
Payne's here! I hate this. I hate this. I'm not going in there. Come.
To sum it all up, I would rate Max Payne 2 7 out of 6 pain pills. The gameplay and story is good, but it's annoying to get running on the PC, so if you buy it, do so knowing that you will have to fix some files and stuff to get the game running at all. Hey guys, so that was the end of my first video. It was kind of fun and also frustrating to make. First time doing this. But I plan on making more. If you liked it, let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching Retro Reviews. Thanks for watching Retro Reviews. Man, I can't even say it right.